Hello and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our 5th Cargo Live episode and the first one for 2022. My name is Nadia Bedra and I'm with the marketing and communications team at IAG Cargo. Today we'll be hearing from GEODIS on how the logistics industry is adapting to new consumer demands. We'll then be hearing from cargo.one on the power of digitalization in the logistics industry, and then we'll be welcoming back World ACD to give us the latest industry insights. This is an interactive session, so we are taking questions. If you have any questions, please pop them into the comments box on the side of your screen, or you can email them to us at marketingteam@iagcargo.com. Now, without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have IAG Cargo's Chief Commercial Officer, John Cheetham. Over to you, John.
Hello, Nadia. Thank you. Thank you very much. And hello to everybody else. And welcome to joining another episode of Cargo Live. Our first of this year, and just reflecting on the year so far, I think we can safely say that air cargo is nothing if not unpredictable. It continues to be an incredibly busy time for the industry. We're starting to deal with a new normal of countries and markets that have emerged from COVID, hopefully for good, whilst other countries are still under COVID restrictions, and the impact that that's having on supply chains and on capacity that's available within those markets. If that wasn't enough for us to be dealing with, of course, we now have the complications that are involved in the Russian invasion of Ukraine and what that's doing to specific markets and market capacity. Quite interesting that there is continued ongoing supply chain disruption there, but also a little bit of an unknown in the commodities and raw materials that are produced out there and what the ongoing impact is going to be from disruption there. Here at IAG Cargo, it's been an incredibly busy quarter. We've been working very hard and working with some leading charities to transport aid for the people in Ukraine. I'm especially proud of the work that's gone there to provide capacity for blankets, clothing, kitchen equipment, you name it. I'm also very proud that our sister companies have been providing capacity and lift for refugees to escape from that area and people who are impacted by the war there. Last week, in fact, 2 weeks ago, sorry, we were delighted to announce a new partnership with cargo.one. You'll be hearing more from cargo.one during this live broadcast. But we at IAG Cargo continue to enhance and invest in our online offering. It's very important for us that we make it as easy as possible for our customers to be booking with us. And so if you're a cargo.one user, you'll be seeing IAG Cargo through that platform as well. Our network continues to grow. I was delighted to see that last week we just restarted services to Sydney. So Australia is back online after too long an absence. That's great news for us. We're continuing to expand services and routes and frequencies, particularly to North America at the moment. And our customers are telling us that they want this capacity, they need this capacity. This is very, very much been welcomed by our customer base. And that's going to be our focus as we go forward, how we rebuild schedules, build back capacity, and make sure that we continue to serve the key markets that our customers are asking for. Today on this on Cargo Live, you're going to be hearing from a number of really interesting speakers, and you're going to be hearing about the markets. You're also going to be hearing specifically about e-commerce. We at IAG Cargo have seen a significant increase in demand for our prioritized product, which serves e-commerce very well. And our e-commerce customers are telling us they want more certainty and they want faster delivery times. All of that wrapped up into our prioritized product, which is why we're seeing significant growth in that area. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like you to enjoy the rest of the Cargo Live episode, and I'd like to hand back to Nadia. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Just a quick reminder, if you've just joined us, we are taking questions. So if you do have any questions, please just pop them through into the comments box or email them to us at marketingteam@iagcargo.com. Next up, we have Ashwani Nath, Global Head of E-commerce at GEODIS, joining us from Paris. Over to you, Ashwani.
Thank you, Nadia. Hello, everyone. And John, thank you for setting the stage on e-commerce. So I've chosen a subject which is titled by me as a business of visibility. Why did I do this? The trends of consumer demands in e-commerce are putting a major strain on the logistics industry. And the idea was to see how we are adapting to it. Over the last few decades, all of us have worked diligently, whether it's air cargo, sea cargo, road freight, from changing the industry from a very break bulk environment to a unitized environment, ULDs, containers, pallets. It not only gave us efficiency and productivity and control over business, but it also reduced liability, improved security, and more than ever, gave that desired visibility to the customer. Now, why is this paradigm shifting? We are now going back full circle, and we need to give visibility to customers from the logistics industry at a parcel level. What does this mean? What does this imply for the e-shopper? The e-shopper, including you and me, are the target for the brands which the logistics industry needs to support. The e-shopper desires visibility, not only on a very good personalized purchasing experience, which is provided by the brands, very well-crafted websites, very friendly bots, chat schemes, very, very well done to invite the customer to purchase a product and put it in the cart. But what is the use of a great purchasing experience if the personalized delivery experience doesn't take place? And this is where the logistics has to play an extremely large role. If you flip that to serve the e-shopper, the brands, what do they need to do? Traditionally, the brands have had one continental DC, and from there, if any order drops on their .com, they're able to serve the neighboring countries in about 2 to 3 days, but it's still a lot of effort. What is their desire? The desire of brands is to try and locate their product in multiple locations all over the continent, as close to the final e-shopper as possible. But this means multiple warehouses, duplicate inventory, increasing working capital cost, and assets don't get optimized. And finally, there is a very convoluted middle and last mile strategy to replenish all the fast moving goods from the main DC to forward locations and enable your stores or dark stores for making the B2C delivery and doing it at the promised time, doing it with flexibility to change date and time of delivery. And there are just so many multiple factors that get involved. This pushed the brands to go to marketplaces. And the marketplaces have done a fabulous job. Now let's look at this paradigm. The marketplaces started out creating a disruption, and they went into the business of platforms. They did not establish themselves as a logistics company. No, business of platforms. From business of platforms, they've grown into being key logistics players. And what's in it for the logistics companies? We are now creating our innovation, and we are creating that virtuous circle where we are starting off as logistics player or as a neutral partner available to these brands, a neutral partner who will not charge a sales commission to the brand, a neutral partner who will give complete control to the brand over the final e-shopper experience and behavior, and also help them in forecasting what is the inventory that they need to position in which place in the future, meaning what is the inventory that they need to produce. And this directly affects working capital optimization, asset optimization, and increases their revenue growth and margin and makes them more competitive. So in short, the logistics players themselves are going back full circle, and we are adding technology to go back to being a business of platforms. Very, very interesting. Finally, we have to save the planet. ESG, or environment and social governance, is becoming a big talking point and a big implementation that we need to do. Logistics is fully aware of what's happening. Nearshoring, local production. forecasting of production and storage as close to the end consumer in e-commerce, moving inventory closer to the final customer, middle mile consolidation. What do I mean by this? Today, a brand who has a warehouse in Venlo in Netherlands would deploy a last mile carrier and give them a parcel in Venlo to deliver to, say, an e-shopper in Milan at, say, about 10 euros and takes about 5 days to deliver. But by creating a middle mile from the logistics industry of sending the cargo as LTL, FTL to a forward location in Milan and then fulfilling the last mile, the cost would literally be halved and you can serve the e-shopper same day or next day. Similarly, recycling the products, good returns, circular economy is all going to add towards ESG benefits, and visibility is going to be the key. To my last point, international cross-border. John, you mentioned a bit of this. International cross-border is becoming extremely important for entrepreneurial companies, say based in US, to sell their product in Europe, increase their revenue, increase their sales. And to do this, they need compliance, they need on-time delivery, and they need a trust to be built up with the logistics provider. Therefore, folks, really, visibility is becoming the key, and the logistics providers need to gear up and ensure that we provide the information that the industry needs. Nadia, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ashwani. Such an interesting presentation. Next up, we are delighted to welcome Simson Demar, VP of Partnerships at cargo.one, IAG Cargo's most recent partner, only announced a couple of weeks ago. Over to you, Simson.
Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, John, for the invitation to IAG Cargo Live. And hello, everyone. I'm Simson, in charge of partnerships here at cargo.one, and we are, of course, very excited to be able to announce our partnership with IAG Cargo to make it easier for many of you to book your air freight shipments easier online. Booking cargo is, of course, one of the big milestones of digitalization in our industry. And maybe finally, this is accelerating at an increasingly rapid pace. I'm very excited to share some insights on this with you today. But before we dive in, maybe a few words about cargo.one, if you haven't seen the press release from IAG Cargo or checked us out online. cargo.one is a free online marketplace to search for and book cargo online. Since 2017, we've been part of the digitalization journey and seen booking volumes soar. Today, you can find more than 22 airline partners, including, as of very soon, IAG Cargo, to more than 400, almost 400 destinations on cargo.one. We serve millions of your searches and from 15 countries every month. It is as simple as booking your next holiday on Kayak, but without any advertising to distract you. And it's fast, a theme we'll get back to in a second. Let me show you briefly. You simply put in your shipment details. Very fast. Within seconds, you get a screen showing offers from leading carriers that are instantly bookable and confirmable, like IAG Cargo. One click later, you're ready to confirm an instant booking. And of course, this being online, you can also change, update, or track your booking 24/7. And things being as simple as booking a flight on Kayak is how we all, as Ashwin already said, have learned to live our lives. COVID, in fact, has given us our move online a big boost. To take a proxy for our digital lives, let's look at e-sales volumes. Over the past 20 years, we've seen strong and steady growth. We see value in ordering our books, our clothes, our presents, and today virtually anything online. And with COVID, in the space of 2 quarters in 2020, e-sales, our move online almost jumped 33%. Many of us now use a one-click digital checkout process on a daily basis, from ordering lunch to ordering groceries. It's simple and it's exceedingly familiar. But cargo is different. Cargo is B2B, not B2C. I still hear many say today. But the reality is that most of the same things that drive us online as consumers also drive our business decisions. Because we go online because it's transparent, because it is real time, because it is quick, easy, and convenient. Most importantly, because it saves us time and frees up our mind space to spend on more worthwhile endeavors. And why shouldn't we expect the same leading digital journeys that Google, Amazon, and Apple provide to us as consumers every day online, in air freight, in B2B? And that's indeed the same trend that we've seen in air cargo and in B2B. When COVID hit, here as an example, and flights began to cancel, searches on cargo.one jumped 63% in the space of a few days. Because our world suddenly moved faster. Forwarders and shippers required real-time capacity information and transparency on what was available online to book right now. Call centers and emails, and maybe suddenly working from home, simply meant we couldn't keep up with our offline processes. And the reality is, once you've done it online with instant confirmation, great real human customer service, we don't go back. And indeed, booking cargo online is faster. If we think back to a manual quote on a Friday evening, it might take days before you have a confirmed booking and a few round-trip emails with an airline. Try the same thing on a Tuesday morning and you might be done in hours. Online, on IAG Cargo, and with cargo.one 24/7, the median time from search to book is 2 minutes. And of course, with forwarding customers, many of you hopefully on the call today, and leading partner carriers like IAG, we continue to innovate. One example with Auto Airway Bill, a feature we recently rolled out to allocate stock automatically, meant that booking times increased 30%, booking speed increased 30%, and gone are the days of airway bill issues. Some of our customers, of course, like to take this as a challenge. Pietro here, one of our customers, took 30 seconds to book in 2021, which was the fastest booking ever. But indeed, it is customers and our joint partnership with airlines like IAG Cargo that drive innovation, that make us get up every day and introduce better flows and a better product for you to serve your customers best. And the results really speak for themselves. More than 50% of the users who sign up for free on cargo.one come because of referrals from colleagues, from friends, and maybe even from competitors. Customer satisfaction, here measured by proxy as NPS, is among the leading companies that provide digital customer journey like Google, Amazon, or Apple. And we look forward to building our partnership with IAG Cargo to provide leading customer journeys online and give you more opportunities to book the fantastic services of IAG Cargo online. With that, thank you, Nadia. Thank you, John, for the invitation to IAG Cargo, for the trust in our partnership. And of course, I look forward to everyone else to working together in the coming weeks and months. Back to you, Nadia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simpson. If anyone's just joined us, we are taking questions. So if you do have any questions, please just pop them through into the comments box. Next up, we're welcoming back Ken DeWitt-Hammer, CEO of World ACD. Over to you, Ken.
Thanks very much, Nadia. Also for inviting me for a second time to be part of the IAG webinar. I'm very pleased to give you an update today. An update and an overview on what's happening in the air cargo industry and show you some trends as we see them in our database. And as you may know, we publish data every week and every month. So I'm happy to show some of the latest developments that we observe when we look at our figures. So I have a time slot of 7 minutes. That's not very long. And so I'll just waste no time and jump right in. But briefly on World ACD first. We're based in Amsterdam, as you can see in this picture. And we've been in the business of publishing market data since 2014. So in those almost 20 years that we've been in business, we've focused exclusively on air cargo. And with a team of IT specialists and data scientists, we process strictly confidential data from our participants. and that keeps us very busy, as you can imagine, especially in these days. So as a neutral and objective party in the industry and as a data partner over customers, we're busy with verifying the input data that's being reported to us. And for each of our participants, we publish the market totals, and every individual party can see their own position in the market, and in all kinds of different market segmentations as well. That's important to mention. So I think as a user of data, and there's many users of data in their industry, a really important question is, when you look at figures that are presented to you, what is it based on and what is behind it? The slides that I will share with you in the, let's say the following slides are based on the 85 airlines that we work with. And we also receive inputs from forwarders. Now, I think it's good to say, or important to mention, that at World ACD we notice a growing interest from players in the industry that really want to understand what's happening in the markets more than before. So there's GSAs, airports, ground handlers, and shippers. I hope many of you are participating today that like to understand in detail what's happening. So at World ACD, our business is, I would say, really zeros and ones, as you can see here on the picture on the left-hand side. So that's a bit about us, but let's look further. What I would like to do first is look at some history to put, let's say, where the industry is today in perspective. So going back to 2015 and the period up until 2018, I guess you can almost call that the good old days, or perhaps for sure some more normal days than we're in today. We've seen an average annual growth rate of, on average, 6%. That's really significant. In 2019, the last pre-COVID year, the increase year over year, so from 2018 to 2019, was plus 2%. Now, we all know that in 2020, with COVID, the industry volumes went down significantly, and our data show a decrease of minus 14%. And in 2021, the industry bounced back with a year-over-year increase of plus 19%, a really significant percentage as well. So that was 2021. So when you compare the year 2019, the last pre-COVID year, with 2021, we see an increase of plus 3%. So that's really a recovery, at least in terms of weight and volumes. Now, that's a worldwide picture. We have to be careful with worldwide figures. That's how I would like to show you this world map. I will not be going through the 158 countries for which we publish individual data, but this is really to show that different regions perform differently, different countries perform differently, and also countries within regions have their own dynamics. So in this overview, we compare the year 2021 with 2019, so a year over 2 year change, you could say, and we really see different developments. So depending on where your business is or what the markets are that you serve, you will have been impacted very differently. Now, the same is true for different product categories. So if we look at different products, what we see as well is that has been a great or wide range of performance, from the valuables increasing or decreasing 12% from 2019 to 2021. Perishables also contracting. General cargo up 3%, so in line with the overall market growth. But not surprisingly, pharma and temperature controlled was up 6%. And vulnerables in high tech and express, particularly express, significant increases. And I think, just like Simpson mentioned in his presentation, the business of e-commerce and sales around that is driving that, of course. So that's a view of product categories. I also would like to show you how the, let's say, top 100 forwarders in the world have performed. In this chart, you see Again, a year-over-2-year comparison, so 2019 versus 2021, and each bar here represents one forwarder. The yellow bars, I should say, are the top 20 global forwarders, and it's really interesting seeing the wide range of performance from almost minus 60% all the way on the left to, on the right-hand side, almost 70% increase. You also see that the top 20 global forwarders, there's actually more, 13 in total, that had positive growth compared to the number of top 20 forwarders that had contracted. So overall, the top 20 forwarders outperformed the overall industry. But that's history. Let's look at some more of the recent developments, because there's a lot happening. As you can see in this chart, we've compared the year to date 2022, which is January and February, to the same 2 months in 2021. And there we see a modest growth of 2%, which is similar to, for example, the growth that we've seen from 2018 to 2019. So not that special yet. Of course, that's still a worldwide average. If we look at the origin regions and the performance per origin region, there's quite some differences. The origin North America and Central and South America and Europe have seen significant increases between 7 to 9%, and Africa, Middle East, and South Asia, and also Asia Pacific contracted, with Asia Pacific being minus 5%. And those 6 regions together then led to, as I'd shown you in the previous chart, to a worldwide growth of 2%, as you can also see in this chart. And this chart shows you the same figures on the left-hand side as you saw in the previous slide, but on the right-hand side, here we also bring in the yield and the rate performance year over year, so January and February 22 compared to 21. And we see a significant increase of yield in those first 2 months, plus 30%, with differences between regions as well, with Asia Pacific having experienced the largest rate increase of plus 44%. Now looking at the most recent developments, so going beyond February, if we first look at where the year started, the average yield in January was $4.23. We've seen a gradual decline in the first weeks of the year, and in the last week of February, the yield stood at $3.89. Now, and then after that last week of February, the world changed, of course. So if we look at what happened as of Thursday, the 21st of February, the 24th of February, when Russia invaded the Ukraine, we've seen a fairly steady increase of rates and a slightly week-over-week drop of volumes. And that's been fairly consistent. Now, yesterday I saw a headline that said that the yields decreased in March, despite the challenges of the world. That's certainly true for certain markets, as we see in our data, and as depicted in this slide, where we compare the last 2 weeks in our database, which is the 7th to the 20th of March, and compare the yield to the preceding 2 weeks, which is the 21st of February to the 6th of March. And we clearly see that Asia Pacific and Europe have really had a significant increase of yields. And that, of course, has to do with the capacity changes and the increased flight time as well. Whereas on other markets, there has been a decrease in yields. So I think with the volatility in the markets and the dynamics, we have heard from parties that we've been in touch with in the industry that there's still a greater need to really understand the dynamics and the volatility. Also to discuss rates and yields and contracts. So that's something that World ACD has paid attention to as well. And as you may know, we've also developed a rate index that can be used by parties in the industry on great level of detail. So it goes down from city to city, all the way up to region level for markets worldwide. It shows index figures or relative figures, not absolute yield figures, which will help parties in the industry to really understand what's happening. And what's not unimportant is that it's also customized per product category. As you can see here, that's in this slide, that's crucial for rate and yield analysis, that it's important to look at the profile of the business. So in this slide, we see a market from the Netherlands to the US and the developments of yields in general cargo, as well as the yield in perishables. And yeah, this is looking at the last 12 months of the year 2021. So January was the base year 100 or the base month. And you see that in December, the yield in general cargo really increased over November, whereas in perishables, the yield dropped. So we find that customization really important. Now, that brings me to the end. There's a lot more to talk about, but I think I've gone over my 7 minutes already. So I hope I've given you a flavor of the most recent trends in the perspective of the long-term trends. Thank you very much for your attention. Handing back over to you, Nadia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. And thank you for bringing all those insights to our audience. Really, really interesting. We have a few minutes and we have a few questions. The first one is for Simpson at cargo.one. Will cargo.one work with IAG Cargo to look at demand for new routes or capacity growth and all?
I think the short answer, Nadia, is yes, of course. That's the ambition of IAG Cargo, to help forwarders serve their shipper customers and ultimately the consumers and businesses behind that. It's for us to help IAG Cargo present all their offering from Sydney to Phoenix on all the channels that we can support. And ultimately, it's where great data that we have in cargo.one as part of cargo.one 360 comes together to help make sure that we grow together and make it accessible to all customers around the world.
Thank you, Simpson. Hope that answered your question. The next one is for Ashwani at GEODIS. How do you deal with the increase of e-commerce during peak times, such as the run up to Christmas and Q4?
Yeah, so Christmas as a peak was a traditional concept when cargo moved westbound from Asia origins, and the commodity was primarily fashion and retail. In today's world, e-commerce is across a variety of products. It could be home equipment, electronics, toys, multiple products moving away really from retail and fashion. E-commerce moves across multiple locations and not just a Asia westbound lane. And therefore, the key comes back to forecasting. E-commerce does not work on one event a year, which is Christmas. You have Singles Day, you have Black Friday, maybe Valentine's Day, and Christmas, of course. So e-commerce is actually more seasonal and more round the year kind of demand product. So
Absolutely.
The key again is forecasting and visibility.
I hope that answered the question. We have another question for John. We've talked about digitalization relationship with cargo.one. Is IAG Cargo on any other third-party platforms?
Thanks, Nadia. And well, first of all, I'd like to say thanks to all the speakers. Some brilliant presentations there. And I'll call out Simpson's presentation to partly answer this question. The benefits of e-booking and digitalization are clear to see in the presentation that he gave. The time that can be saved by accessing bookings and capacity through these distribution channels is quite remarkable. So that was really, really interesting, a great eye-opener for everyone. Absolutely, we work with cargo.one as we've discussed on this Cargo Live episode. We also distribute with Cargo AI and Web Cargo, and of course directly through IAGcargo.com, where you can see all our routes and all our rates that are available.
Thank you, John. That is all we have time for today. I just want to thank all the speakers for taking time out of their day and to join us today. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of the day and stay up to date with all IAG Cargo news. Please follow us on LinkedIn, or you can subscribe to our e-newsletter at marketingteam@iagcargo.com. Thank you.